Hi, how's it going? So, my name's Seth, right? And, I always just wanted to make videos. I guess this is that chance for me, right? You gotta start it somehow, and it's gonna be a bit awkward at first. But hopefully, starting from this, I can start something new. In the meantime, what exactly am I gonna make here? I don't know. I think I might just get used to talking to myself in front of the camera, right? And until I can do that at a continuous basis, then not even. I guess I can just learn as I go. You know, getting it's not gonna be kind of scuffed, but we're just gonna start with whatever at first, right? First off, how am I feeling today? I'm kind of a bit anxious, to be honest. Sometimes you feel really anxious. Hello, get out of here. And what do you do? What do you do when you're anxious, right? Obviously, you don't want to focus on being anxious because it just makes you more anxious. You know, um, hmm. Sometimes I think actually, anxiety sometimes is not a bad thing. It's a human characteristic. There's a reason we feel that way, right? As hunter-gatherer species, that's a way we could have outran animals, right? Predators, kept ourselves safe, right? Survival instinct. And the same thing can be said about where you are right now, right? Sometimes when you're anxious, it could be telling you about something you're not addressing, right? You could be having a bad, shitty time. You could be having saying something you should have done. Let's say, you gotta work on your, fucking, there's something you gotta do, right? That's something you promised to yourself. You're anxious because you're not keeping that promise. You're anxious because you know that you should be doing that and putting an effort into whatever that is, but you're not, right? For one reason or another. Now, this could be, let's give an example, right? I could have promised myself, right? Something like this. I promised myself I'd make a video. I promised myself yesterday I'd make a video. But I was feeling anxious today. Now that could be the fact that I promised myself I was going to make a video yesterday, but I haven't made it yet. And today would have been the same way had I not addressed it, had my anxiety not gotten to the point where I'm like, yo, I actually need to do this, or else I'm lying to myself, right? And there's one thing you have to be honest to, it's to yourself. You can't lie to yourself. You can try to lie to everyone else, but the one thing you gotta be sure of fact is face yourself. Because if everyone else isn't gonna know what's what with you, you should at least know what's what with you. And the only way you could do that is by being honest with yourself, right? Talking to yourself, getting really right down to it, why you're feeling the ways you do, and knocking it out of the park, right? At the same time, you shouldn't get too far ahead of yourself, right? Because there's that saying, a man who thinks all the time has nothing but just thoughts. I don't know how the saying goes, but it's basically if you think all the time, all you're really thinking about is thoughts. It ain't even reality no more. You're lost in this whole deep end. If any man should, for any overthinker knows, it's the worst thing possible. Because you're so worrisome. You ever get to that point? It's you're worrying about something so much, and then when you got to a point of doing it, it wasn't even that bad after all. As for a lot of things, actually, it's almost like your brain's trying to safeguard you, right? Trying to keep you doing a certain thing. It's so good at keeping you comfortable, keeping you in habits. And it's like a frequency thing, right? That's something you gotta shift. Makes sense is right. Honestly, I probably wouldn't even have had the motivation to make the videotape if it were not the fact that I could fucking die tomorrow. You know? Whoa, hold up. I got quick a little bit, but same thing, right? It's you only live here once, but if all you do is live in your fucking head, are you actually living? What are you doing today that's actually for yourself? Right, you got a job. You gotta have the job. You gotta make a living, right? Now, you gotta do this, that. Just living at home. You're doing that so you can please your parents, right? Or you're picking out flowers, this or that. You're doing that for your significant other, your girlfriend. But what are you choosing to do today that's actually benefit to yourself? What, like, had everyone else is not there in the scenario, right? It's just thinking about yourself. What are you doing today that actually pleases that soul of yours? I talk about this because it's so, it's so attached to like what we were talking about earlier. It's anxiety. And I believe anxiety, well, it's like, obviously, like, I'm not, if it's not diagnosed, right? Normal anxiety, right? It's because you're not facing yourself. There's something about yourself you're not facing, and there's times to face it, right? And the only way you could do that is if you talk to yourself. You be honest to yourself. Or you put into action what that is that you're putting off. Right? Stop living in the past. Let's get started today. Alright. Doses.